Welcome to the Orkney Science Festival Foraging Walk, which has taken place here at Walkmill in Hobbister. Walkmill Bay you can see behind me here. The tide's going out just now, so it'll be low tide later this afternoon. It's a fabulous area for wildlife. At low tides you get a variety of waders feeding on the beach here, and then at high tide you can get a nice variety of ducks and things, especially in the winter time. The area behind the beach here is a really large area of salt marsh, which has a really interesting variety of wildflowers. For today's walk, we're going to look at some of the plants here that are near the bay, and then we're going to follow the road down towards Hobbister Reserve and then up onto the track. This walk forms part of the St Agnes Way, and we'll join the circular coastal route that goes around the reserve and come back up to the moorland and back to the car park here, looking at a variety of plants and other wildlife along the way. The first plant we're going to be looking at today is Rose Bay Willow Herb. It's this tall one here with the deep pink flowers. Very bright and very colourful at this time of year. You can find it in quite a lot of areas at this time of year, and very popular with the bees.
There is a nice one, Anna.
It's great.
Look at this tall, majestic plant.
Fantastic. One of my favourites, Rose Bay Willow Herb.
Ooh.
Look at it, it's spectacular. It's not actually a native of here. This one is Camerium angustifolium, which means narrow leaf, called Rose Bay Willow Herb because it looks like willow leaves.
When you have a young shoots coming out from the ground, and you can just pull them off, they snap very easily, and you can use them instead of asparagus. And gently saute in butter, give it a little bit of a garlic, pepper and salt, and they're really nice.
And the young leaves, again, from those young shoots, they're very rich in vitamin C. And the young shoots, it can be used in pesto or other wild dips. Absolutely fantastic. Again, bit of garlic, lemon juice, delicious.
A few of this in a salad.
Beautiful.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Cocktails.
Ice cubes. It's also medicinal. I mean, it's very rich in vitamin C, and it's astringent, which is probably why it makes good tea as well. But the astringency, the tannins in it, make it a very good anti-inflammatory for sore throats, for stomach complaints. And we know about this from the Native American traditions. And we think it's come here from North America.
Also, I'm not sure what can you smell. For me, it's a sorrel.
It's got a kind of acidity to it, hasn't it? But there's a sweetness too, and almost kind of malty.
I'm pretty sure that there are many other uses, but these flowers you could pretty easily extract the flavor and the color of it, just dipping it in a sugary water to make it cordials, or ferment it and make a champagne.
Absolutely.
Yeah, again, Rose Bay Willow Herb.
And very prevalent in Orkney too. So there you go.
Here we have the Rosa rugosa. So here we can see quite a nice variety of flowers and buds and hips starting to form. You get the pink flowers, you get some white varieties as well. I've got white ones in my garden. So there's some buds coming here. And then we have like this where the flowers just passed and the hips are just starting to form. And then the hips coming here. And once the hips are ripe, they go this lovely deep red colour. I don't know a lot about the different ways you can use Rosa rugosa, but you just have quite a light rosy flavour when you eat them.
Okay, so if you want to come a bit closer again, we can look at this beauty here. This is wild rose or dog rose, known as Rosa canina. And the reason I can see that actually, what I'm looking for, if you like, are these scrambling, sort of arching over branches here, which have got these evident thorns that are, kind of reddish brownish colour, very obvious. Okay, other species have much more finer and much more dense thorns all the way along. And also the leaves themselves as well have these serrated edges, you see, and also the opposite leaflets on there as well. And at the minute, very obvious fruits. So maybe if you come over, obviously there's thorns on there as well, as you can see. These little fruits are the rose hips, they're called. They're unripe at the minute. They will turn red later on in the year. But these are where the flowers were actually. And that's the base. And the fruit then is just behind the flower and it's smooth. So in other rose species, they can have little hairs on there as well. So that's our dog rose ID. And maybe we should think a little bit about roses in general there, imagining the flowers. And certainly they're known worldwide, aren't they? And associated oftentimes with love and, you know, sweet smells. And actually, what's interesting scientifically is that there's been, you know, that smell actually encompasses a pheromone that is reflected in nature. So for example, it's in elephants' must, that when they're in season to attract a mate, and bees also use it as well. So interesting to think, are we attracted to the sweet smell, or is there something a bit deeper there as well? So
So here on our left, we have Scapa Flow. It's a really sheltered kind of natural harbour, rich in wartime history from both the First and the Second World Wars, and there's obviously a lot of wrecks underwater. It's very popular with divers coming here on holiday. Now you're just likely to see the tankers that come in. They come here either to visit the old terminal at Flotta or to do the ship-to-ship transfers. There's one sitting out there just behind me. And then we also have some rigs in at the moment. The rigs just come in for safety and maintenance checks because it is such a sheltered area. This area is really rich in wildlife throughout the year. At this time of year in the summer months, there's a lot of fulmars flying around the coast. You get bonxies flying past, a lot of gulls. There's red-throated divers flying around, and the red-throated divers are out in the sea, and they do breed up in the pools behind me here as well. In the winter time, Scapa Flow is really important for birds that overwinter here, and they come down from the north, so from the Arctic and Iceland. So things like great northern divers, black-throated divers, the red-throated divers as well. You also get long-tailed ducks here, golden eyes and Slavonian grebes. So it's a really important area for wildlife throughout the year. This is ribwort plantain. So you can see here the flower heads. And then the leaves themselves, the undersides have the ribs on them. Children in Orkney and probably other parts of Scotland as well used to play at soldiers with the heads of these. It used to be a fun game to play when you were younger.
okay, so if you'd like to join us just down here a little bit, you can zoom in and look at this very common, wonderful plant. It's known as ribwort plantain. And first of all, if you look at these beautiful seed heads on these lovely long stalks, often referred to as soldiers, where kids would sword fight and even sort of pop these little seed heads at each other. And actually the little heads, the flowers, earlier on in the year taste like mushroom, which is really an interesting flavour. And just now, these lovely little seed heads are full of nutrition as well. I don't know if you can get a close look in. Might take you a while to get lots of them, but certainly you can make them into breads and all sorts of different things. Very nutritious. So that's the seed head, but it's important as well to get your eye into why is it called ribwort plantain. So if I pick a leaf here, you can also notice why. You can see the ribs there. You see that? All the way along. So that's where it gets its name. The other type of plantain is the broadleaf one, so it's much more sort of flatter and broader looking, of course. And both have got similar properties as well. Traditionally, this has been quoted in many of the many books I've noticed, especially in Scottish Highlands. So yeah, there's so many uses for this plant that certainly they're full of tannins and mucilage, so very soothing, actually soothing properties as well as anti-inflammatory. So it's a very well used plant and often overlooked actually, but right underfoot, so take notice.
We have some lovely wildflowers here. This yellow one here is goldenrod, so it's a beautiful yellow flower you get this time of year. This one here has just got lots of buds in it, so it's just about to come into flower. The smaller yellow flower down here is tormental, so it likes this kind of heathy environment too. And then this here is woodrush, and you get quite a lot of it growing in this area. This lovely bluey purple flower, it's one of the last flowers to come in Orkney, so it's a kind of late summer flower. It's called Devil's Bit scabious. So it's this beautiful bluey purpley colour. So this is it in flower, and then we also have it here in bud just before it flowers. Hoppister is an RSPB reserve. The land itself is owned by the Edrington Group, who produce whisky. The area that you can see behind me, where you can see some of the machinery and the green shed, the area behind that is where they do the peat cutting for the Highland Park whisky. In terms of the wildlife on the reserve, it's a really good place for seeing hen harriers, curlews, skylarks in the spring. Quite a number of stone charts breed here as well, and of course the red-throated divers. It's mainly moorland, and then you have the path, coastal path going along Scapa Flow, and along the coastline you can see fulmars, black guillemots, the great skuas, and also divers and other ducks in the flow. Here we have two different types of heather. So you've got the bell heather here, which is this deeper pinky purple. You normally see the hills of Scotland just covered in this lovely deep pink purpley colour at this time of year in August. And then behind it here we have the ling heather, which is slightly paler. We also have it here, which is a more lilac colour. But the combination of the two together just creates this fantastic mass of purple at this time of year.
So here we have Calluna vulgaris, also known as ling heather, a very prevalent plant in and around Orkney. The habitat you'll find it in is usually sort of moors and heathland, in amongst other species such as crowberry, bell heather as well, cross-leaved heath, those type of species. And amazingly, traditionally it's been used for all sorts of different things, from feeding fodder to laying road foundations, to making springy mattresses apparently, bedding, as well as ropes, also as a natural dye and medicinal tea. It's very relaxing to drink as a tea, so yeah, it's a beautiful one.
We're just coming to the end of our walk now, and we're just about to make our way back to the road and the car park. We'd like to thank you for joining us on our walk today, and we hope that you'll be able to visit Orkney for yourselves sometime soon when it's safe to do so.